on your comfort level. To me, before you can even get to financial literacy, I always tell people it's about financial efficacy. And
Okay.
we don't stress that enough. Financial efficacy is what you feel in your day to day relationship with money. So,
Mm-hmm.
how you feel you can achieve your financial goals. If you don't have a positive outlook on your financial situation or goals, then even if you educate yourself, you won't be motivated to execute.
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, it's like, okay, change the beliefs about what you have about your finances. And the best way to do that is say, okay, write down three of your top finance goals, whether that's saving money, whether that's putting some money aside to invest, or you want to put down a down payment for something. Just write down three goals.
Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of In Real Life with Siobhan. And today I have a good old classmate from the class of 2013. I got Yvonne with me, y'all, and I heard some very great things about her financial literacy. So, we all adults now. We've been adults, but it's really time to like buckle down and actually do adult type things. So I just wanted to talk to her about financial literacy, and Justin actually told me about y'all conversation. So I was like, you know what? I want to have a conversation with her too, we like to
Come home with it.
let everybody eat over here. We like to expose everybody, help everybody out. So we can just start out with, how did you get into financial literacy?
Financial literacy, I think it was more of a bigger deal when I was in college.
Uh-huh.
And then because I went to school in Florida, so I'm originally from Detroit. I went to Florida A&M University. So when I got there, it was already kind of a shock. So of course you have to adjust. But then I realized like, okay, once I got there, everybody's living situation is different. And so how people value money is also different. And so it was really just the education or the miseducation of finances that was just like, wow, in my family, it was really big on, teaching us certain things, checking accounts, savings accounts, always saving some money, investing money, this, that, and the other. But then I want to surround myself around some of those same individuals. And even if my friends didn't have the knowledge or the education behind it, it was my job to at least give them the grassroots so that they will be able to build upon it. And so that's really kind of like the start. And then as I transitioned into my corporate finance career, I realized, like you said, we hitting the other side of 20s now. So finances are, starting to come into play a little bit more. People are looking to get like their first big purchases, home buying and stuff like that. So financial literacy is really the education and knowing, how to apply what you know about finances to make the most educated decisions when it
You
comes to
started
money.
helping your friends out in college.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
And even to this day.
Well, listen, you
It's
gotta
more of a support system now that we're all kind of like in the same,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah, and the way that like
we
a
have
lot of
the,
people's lives have changed within the past year. Even
yeah,
before the whole pandemic happened, I feel like a lot of, specifically our class, a lot of us were in like a transitional phase where we was like, okay, what we want to do for real. And
yeah.
where do we want to be financially in this amount of time? So the pandemic just kind of like fast forwarded that for us. But
Hmm.
okay. So how long have you been interested in it? Like when you came into college, were you like, okay, I want to do finance, or it was kind of just like you found it along the way?
So at FAM, you had two routes.
Mm-hmm.
So you did accounting or you had what they call concentrations. So you could do finance, marketing, supply chain. a few other things. And so for me, I know if I chose accounting, my family would make me become a CPA. Not saying anything is wrong with being a certified public accountant. The thing is, for me, I have a big personality. So I like helping individuals. So to me, it was just like, okay, I still want to work with numbers. Finance is still that same route. The thing with finance is I can become a licensed professional advisor, financial advisor, if I wanted to. You can do that with any major, but for me, that was the long game. It still is the long game.
Okay. So you was like, I don't want to be a CPA.
Yeah, I didn't want to be a CPA. I didn't want to sit there
And
and,
be on isn't that like more like a computer job? Like you kind of just punching in numbers?
what, my day-to-day job?
No, the being a CPA.
I'm not sure. From my understanding, when I talk to people who are CPAs, yes, but it is more of like I've shadowed a few people who are CPAs. It's very quiet in the office.
You need
I don't like quiet in the office.
You like
yes.
the girl, I don't either.
So I was just like, this can't be my future. And once I started having internships, I'm like, okay, finance is definitely the route for me, because once you get into finance, you can do a whole array of different small careers within the finance and accounting kind of like business segment.
Okay. So what is the smartest thing for us to do at this age right now, financially?
I would say it definitely depends on people's on your comfort level. To me, before you can even get to financial literacy, I always tell people it's about financial efficacy. And we don't stress that enough. Financial efficacy is what you feel in your day-to-day relationship with money. So how you feel you can achieve your financial goals. If you don't have a positive outlook on your financial situation or goals, then even if you educate yourself, you won't be motivated to execute. So to me, it's like, okay, change the beliefs about what you have about your finances. And the best way to do that is say, okay, write down 3 of your top finance goals, whether that's saving money, whether that's putting some money aside to invest, or you want to put down a down payment for something. Just write down 3 goals, especially if you're just getting into the flow of everything. Once you have your top 3 goals, figure out one that's the smartest goal. So it's measurable, it's attainable. I mean, it's specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and you could put a time date to it. Because then once you get to the point where you can dedicate yourself to say, hey, I'm going to do this, then once you complete that and execute that, then you can go to goal number 2.
Right.
But to me, the first thing is make sure your mindset is right when it comes to finances. Write down your top 3 goals and just choose one. Just focus on one for right now.
Focus on one at a time.
Yes, just focus on one, and then once you complete that or you feel more comfortable, your dedication, your determination is there, then you can add on more onto your plate. Because a lot of times when I work with people or I help with people, it's like you want to do all these things and you just starting out. You putting too much on your plate. Like you got to stack it on little by little so that, in the long term, yes, you're going to achieve everything. But right now, you just got to start with what you have. And if I was to give a person any type of, tip, it would be definitely make sure you got some type of savings. Make sure you have some type of savings. With everything that's going on in our economic climate, it shows how important it is to save something. So have some type of savings. If you are in a particular area where you can invest, I always say invest in a IRA, which is an individual retirement account, because not everybody has a 401k, which is an employer retirement account. So invest in that. Most of those give you 6 to 10% interest on what you put there, depending on how you break it up, and is limited. So it's only $6,000 that you can contribute per year. So if you can only contribute $25 or something to your individual retirement account, put that there and let that grow. You will be surprised on how much your money will grow, somewhere where you're getting 6 to 10% interest on your money versus a traditional savings account where you're getting literally pennies on a dollar.
Right. That's what I was gonna ask you. Well, number one, I'm the go big or go home person. So it's good hearing you say that, because I like to be like, okay, this is what I want to do. Like, I'm a list person, so that is one thing that I already kind of had set for. I'm like, okay, I need to see it on paper. I'm not really like a vision board person, but I need to see write it down and make it plain. So I'm good on that part. It's the part of like focusing on one goal at a time, because I'll be like, well, I'm gonna do all of them. And then I'm looking around like, this is
If you try to
impossible.
do all of them, you're not gonna do none of them.
Girl, yes. So the IRA, okay. I heard that 401ks are not really as grand or as great as they seem. Is this accurate?
Yes, that is accurate, and I'm going to explain why.
Okay.
So, a 401k, if your employer has it, it is nice to have.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put that there. Because, like I said, all employers don't do it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The best ones are when your employer is contributing 5% or more, okay,
Mm-hmm.
to what you, so let's just say for your paycheck or my paycheck, I put 5% aside, my company matches 5%. Boom, that's 10% right there. Because they matching dollar for dollar to what I'm matching.
Mm-hmm.
So that is good. Anything to me above 3 to 5% for a corporate match is phenomenal. Now, what I will say is do not exceed what your company is matching. It's not worth it because of the fees that are applied once we get old enough to take out our 401k. And sometimes people actually do touch their 401k before we get to the age that we are eligible for. So let's explain that. If you need to touch any money that you have in your 401k or your IRA, which is your individual retirement account, it is more advantageous to put your money in an IRA because after 5 years of maturity, you can take your money out and you can take up to $10,000 for a down payment on a house.
Mm-hmm.
You can take that money out to offset cost of childbirth and a few other things. So it will be more advantageous to do a IRA. However, if your company has a 401k, a pretty nice size contribution match, do both. I do both. I'm not gonna leave no money on the table. If my company gonna say, "Hey, I'm gonna match what you matching," let's match, and I'm still gonna build something off on the side.
Okay, so you're saying when you say matching, you're saying don't go over that certain percentage that they're giving
Yeah,
you. Okay, because it
because then
may be
it
extra.
won't be. Yeah, it won't be advantageous for you. Like, yes, you'll be saving money off to the side because it's pre-tax dollars, but you can put your money in a lot of other places that will grow faster
Mm-hmm.
pre-tax.
Okay. Okay. I'm learning something. So
That's what it's all about.
which is better? Investing in real estate or investing in stocks?
Investing in stocks. And then let me explain why.
Ooh,
You
getting
if
juicy.
you if you invested in stocks, let's just say in March, we were looking at a sea of red across the board.
Mm.
Everybody was freaking out. Every single company really on all of them. We saw on the news the stock dropped another 100 and something points. A lot of people don't know what that meant. That meant that people were just selling their shares, right? So for me, that's why I was just like, bet. I just started buying everything up. And what I started buying in was into real estate. I was buying into tech. I was buying into things that we knew, well, internally, I'm like, okay, this is going to pop off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, people going to shop more online.
Mm-hmm.
Let me buy stuff or companies that do that. You could buy stocks at Etsy, buy Carvana, buy Pinterest. So if you got those stocks in, buy Zillow. Zillow was at $34. Now it's trending over $100.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got in March,
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying is if you invest in the right things and you wait, it's a waiting. If you wait, you can use what you made off of those stocks to buy into real estate.
Ah, smart girl, smart girl.
So you using your money and you flipping it in multiple ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's good to get into real estate, but a lot of times people don't understand you can get into what are called REITs, which are real estate investment trusts. So you can own a piece of real estate and not have to deal with the maintenance costs, not have to deal with tenants or overhead, but you buy into companies that own real estate.
Mm-hmm.
So like Zillow, a lot of people use Zillow. You can do
Right.
that. Corporate, they're like Amazon. They don't own all their buildings. There's a company, SPG. I think it's Simmons Property Group. They own pretty much the JC Penney's. All of those commercial, that's who are one of the primary commercial stocks that you can buy into. So it's like, hey, you have some type of real estate ownership with not
But you don't,
necessarily having your deed on the paper.
right, and you don't have to do the hard work. Like you can still like be
Yeah.
in it, but not really. Because I mean, it just depends on what your interests are. If you're really actually
Yeah.
interested in real estate like that, but if you more so interested because of the financial advantages of
Then you
it,
might be better
yeah.
off with, stocks for right now and then
Okay.
using the money that you flip to buy into real estate. And what
Okay.
I'll say for anybody that's looking to get into real estate, just wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like, because there's so many cash buyers.
Mhm.
It's so many people that's willing to buy everything that's on the table right now.
Mhm.
And it's going to be, you can get into something now, but it's going to be more coming soon.
Mhm.
Why? Because we still going through this thing. It's a lot of people that's still really behind on their mortgages.
Mhm.
So the opportunity is going to be there. So take the time to stack up your money unless there's a deal that come across your table that you can't refuse. If it's one of those type of situations, get in there and hold it. But if you just itching to buy something, buy some stocks.
That's what I was looking. I followed Black millionaires on Instagram, and they go live
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times. I just started following them within the last like month or so, and they went
Okay.
live, and it was very informative about how he was one of the guys was saying that first off he's a doctor, so let's just start there. Like he's a doctor first and foremost, and then he does all of these other things that makes him a millionaire. But he was saying like it'll be really good. Like you buy low and sell high, and it'll be really good to go into like hotels, invest in uh airplane. Oh, I can't think of the name right now.
Commercial
Yes,
airlines,
commercial
airlines.
airlines. Invest in like anything that's kind of like travel-y right now, because once like the pandemic kind of like fades away, that's what everybody is gonna be doing. But like when the pandemic first
I
started,
wholeheartedly believe.
a lot of people like he invested in Starbucks because they transitioned well in the pandemic with the whole like they had like
Mm-hmm.
curbside delivery or like an app where you can just order it, walk in and walk out.
Mm-hmm.
So like it was just little tips and tricks like that where I was like, okay, like you got to think ahead of like what will be needed most, especially in this time right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that is some good stuff. What is something we should avoid doing financially? That's a very broad question, but if you can think of anything.
One of the top things that you said, that is a cardinal rule into investing, whether you invest in stocks, whether you're investing into yourself to kick off a business and you're trying to, take off and do something, or if you're trying to get into real estate, you always buy low and sell high. You That is a cardinal rule.
Mm.
Um, if you get in the other way, Yes, you can probably write it off on your taxes, but there's no greater satisfaction knowing that you got in low and that you're able to sell high and now you got a profit.
Right.
So that's one thing for sure. Another thing is don't overutilize credit. I
Mm,
know our age group, millennials, we can sometimes get swipe happy, which is okay in moderation.
not.
So always moderation. So always utilize 30% or less of your credit.
Hmm.
So whatever your
Yeah, don't
credit max
don't run
is,
it.
yeah, don't go over 30%. And when we talk about 30%, it's during your statement days. So there's two different dates that you got to worry about. The statements, which is being reported to your credit bureau. So if you get your free credit score every month, and then you'll have your bank statement. So you'll want to pay more attention to the one where you have your free credit score versus your bank statement because they're going to be slightly off.
Mhm.
So just be mindful of that when it comes to credit. I think the third one is definitely living below your means.
Mm,
Don't try to keep up with the Joneses.
don't.
That's one thing that you're gonna be in a money pit if you try to do that.
Mhm.
And the how is it? It's like 50, 30, 20. So 50% of your income should be to your needs. I want to say 20% should be to your wants. And then I think like 30% should be towards like investing or savings, something like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
And for some people, that may not be realistic, but one rule, even if you're renting or leasing or buying, you don't want your rent or your mortgage to be 40% more than what you bring home in a month.
Let me put that in. Don't.
Just because you still have day-to-day bills, you may have a car note, you may have credit cards, you may still need to save and stuff like that. So you definitely don't want your rent or your mortgage to be 40% than when you bring in on a monthly basis.
Monthly income. Okay, and we can finish it off with this question. This is another broad question. How do we create generational wealth? Because I feel like, starting with our generation, I feel like our parents, some of us, not all of us, some of our grandparents did a good job, some of our parents done a good job, but for majority, we talking about the Black community as a whole. It's rough. Like, we are some of the first ones to go to college. We some of the
Mm-hmm.
first ones to make a certain amount of money. How do we create that, and how do we stabilize it?
Yeah. So generational wealth is is a long-term thing that you have to work on, especially if you grassrooting it. So
Mm,
if you're the first generation, you have to understand this not for your kids, these for your grandkids.
mhm.
So you have to start off with that. Like, yes, you're gonna have some investments for yourself, but you should be having a portfolio that's gonna be dedicated to your children or your grandchildren. So, or maybe if you don't want children, for your nieces, your great nieces, whomever, the thing is, if you grassrooting it, you starting it with yourself, and then 3 generations out. That's generational wealth. Um, and then when you think about it, you have to have your money in like a pie, right? So we got a pie full of money. So we don't just have cash sitting there. The cash got to work. So your cash needs to be in a wide spread of investment, whether, that's a life insurance plan. A lot of people don't understand having a cash value life insurance plan could literally set the next generation or the generation after that generation up. You can have a $500,000 life insurance plan, paying maybe $20, $50 per month. If something happened to you, 500,000, you can dedicate in your will or however you have your money set up that, hey, after this happens, you can literally have it set up that the person the beneficiary, the person who's going to receive the funds, don't touch it until like they're 18, 20, 21. Okay, not until you know how to handle money. And even then, you're not really getting all the money. Because guess what? That money is still about to be somewhere gaining what we call compound interest. So it's working for us. So you still can't touch the money. So, I think life insurance plans are good. Like we talked about those investments. 529 plans. If you have children, nieces or nephews, godchildren, a 529 plan is really pretty much like an educational fund for them. So you put money in, or whatever. And then once they go to college, you give them money for college. So guess what? They don't have student loans.
Amen.
They may not have to do what we did,
Yeah.
And then the cool thing about a 529 plan, once you give them money, guess what happens? You get to write that off on your taxes.
Oh, okay.
So it's just certain things when you think about generational wealth, it's like you literally have to say, this isn't for me. Yes, I'm building my portfolio, but I'm building something for the generation after me and hopefully for the generation that comes after that one, because then that will be true generational wealth. You can even buy a lot of land and literally not build anything on that lot of land. And you could just pass that deed on for generation to generation.
Buying land, child.
Because that's considered an asset.
Well, Yvonne, that was good. That was really good. Yes, you don't need to be at nobody's computer because you need to talk to the people. You need to talk to the people. It was really good. I learned some stuff because before I talked to you, I was like, I need to do a little bit more research because I don't want to look completely crazy. But I knew a little bit more than what I thought I knew. So that's good. We start here and I still learned a lot of good juicy stuff. So yeah, do you have anything else to say to the people? It's good stuff, girl.
Thank you. Thanks, Siobhan, first and foremost, for having me here. If you guys have any additional questions or want to connect, feel free to follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Secure Yourself Co. I definitely offer free consultations. So if you want more insight on some of the stuff that we talked about, feel free to set up time on my calendar so that, either we can figure out what your goals for 2021 going to be, put a plan on how to execute it, or get you to start dibbling your money into some investment.
Okay. And is that connected on your Instagram? Because I am gonna put your handle on episode.
So the link to the calendar is actually on both Instagram and Facebook in the link tree.
Okay, cool. All right, y'all. That is it for today. I'm calling 2021 Money Bags 2021 because we got
the year of leveling up.
We got things to do. We got some growing up to do. We just need prosper financially. That's not something that that's something that I wanted, but that has not always been my number one thing because I never wanted to be so money hungry. But I think this past year has taught me like, okay, that really should be one of at least your top 3 priorities because you growing up. You about to be 30 in 0.2 seconds. Like, girl, get it together.
No. We young forever over here.
Young, she said, I'm 21 for the rest of my life. All right, y'all. Until next time on In Real Life. Peace.